What I've learned about hip pain relief that every parent over 40 needs to know. Part 3. Take a breath. Hi, welcome everybody. It's Jason Barlow, RMT. I'm here today as your therapist and as your coach to help you transform any stress, tension, and pain into health, happiness, and vitality. So the last couple of weeks, I've been reviewing some things with you about hip pain relief, especially for those of you who are in that category of OLD. A friend of mine said this a few months back, and he said, I asked him, how's he doing today? And he said, I'm just struggling with some OLD. And I was going through and, doing my medical mind thing and must be osteo, L must be, and breaking it down. And obviously he was just joking with me, meaning he's getting old. Now he's pretty much the same age as me. And I guess I fit into that category of OLD now. I'm a strong believer that it's your perception of what that actually means. But nevertheless, you go with the joke for the time being. But what I'm trying to share with you is as we age, this body is a vehicle. And just like a brand spanking new vehicle, you drive it out off the parking lot, it's in good shape. The tires don't need rotating yet, or doesn't need changing. You don't need to maintain anything. Like, it's ready to rock. Now, if you don't do any maintenance for 5,000 kilometers, it's probably still going to be just fine. And now you go 10,000 kilometers, maybe some things are going to start to show up. 20,000, or definitely probably going to for sure have some signs and symptoms. 50,000, you see where I'm going. The more kilometers distance we put onto that motor vehicle and we don't maintain it, then eventually it's going to show some signs and symptoms to illuminate to you, the driver and the owner, hey, you need to make a correction. And if you don't, then guess what? Something else starts to fail, something else to break down, till eventually you're wondering why, hey, why is it stop? Why is it quit on me? Well, obviously there's only one answer, is you didn't maintain it, you didn't take care of it. It's the same with the human body. It is a vehicle and you must maintain it. Well, I say must, it's up to you. I'm here just as your coach and as your therapist, so you must. Is that better? Does that not hurt your feelings as much? You must take care of your vehicle because you only have this one, depending upon your viewpoint on that. As a Buddhist, I believe we have many yet to come, but what they look like is determined by what we do in this very body that we've got right now. So nevertheless, don't waste this body that you have. It's very precious. It's very delicate. And what you are doing by way of nutrition, and not just nutrition as in food, but also mental nutrition, physical nutrition, is determining the longevity of this very life. So that's where I'm referring to in terms of this aspect of hip pain, how it ties in with the OLD. So part 1, we actually looked at, becoming motivated, becoming educated to help with that motivation. Your thoughts affect your feelings, which create actions, and your actions are ultimately determining your results. So if you don't like the results you've got in your life right now, you're struggling with hip pain, for example, in this specific context, or maybe there's other things in your life. You're like, I just really wish things were different. Well, backtrack that. The formula is thoughts create feelings, which lead to your actions, which create results. So if you don't like the results that you've got right now, stop blaming other people or the government, politics, the neighbors, the kids. Just throwing out a few that I've used. So you go through your own list. Who is it that you're currently blaming for the fact that you don't have the things that you want to have? And I'm referring specifically in the haves in terms of, a healthy mindset and a healthy body. All the other stuff, that's up to you. But I'm talking specifically about a body that gives you and a mind that gives you health, happiness, and vitality. There's only one. It's you. Go look in the mirror. That's the one that you need to conquer and deal with. And so it comes down to, if you want different results, you've got to take different actions. Well done. You filled in the gap nicely. And if you want to have different actions, what you got to have? You got to have different feelings. And if you want to have different feelings, then you've got to have different thoughts. Where are those thoughts coming from? The government, politics. No, it's coming from within your mind, the sphere of your mind, and nowhere else. You have the potential to change that, transform that. There are seeds, there are opportunities, books, there's materials. I can give you directions. Listen to more of these things. whatever works for you. So long as it's helping you transform your mind and you know metrically, you know that it's having an imprint, an impression, a change, a transformation, then you know it's working for you. So check that. Then we looked at short, tight muscles, long, weak muscles. And then we obviously shared, as in the description below as well, the pigeon stretch. So make sure you're on top of that. Then we looked at making your three-dimensional training. What do I mean by that? It's talking about training not just in the front sagittal, forward and backward, front, facing type of motions, but including some side-to-side and rotational patterns, because usually in the side-to-side and rotation is where most of the injuries are happening for athletes and recreational athletes and non-athletes for that matter. And then part 3 today, we're diving into this phenomenal book. I would highly recommend you get a copy of this and just keep it as a resource, number one, but also to kind of plug away as and when you can by way of reading it. But there's a phenomenal chart in here that I would highly recommend. At the very minimum, you have this book on your shelf and you just refer to this when you or you family members or people you know have some kind of symptoms. So Louise Hay's great research ties in with the emotional contributions to the physical manifestation of pain. Say that 3 times fast. And she boils it down to 2 emotions. She says, with all her research, 2 emotions that are the cause of all diseases and pain in the body. And right now you're probably going through a whole list, right? The government, politics, not even on there, not even on her radar. How you feel towards those things are. So let's go through. What are the 2 things? The 2 things are fear and anger. Fear and anger. A little side note, I heard this on a TED Talk not long ago. Did you know we're only born with 2 fears? 2 fears. Everything else is conditioned. The 2 fears we're born with are falling from a height, right? So imagine you got a little baby and then you just, don't drop the baby, but just imagine that you're trying to, almost suspend or drop the baby quickly, but catch it kind of thing. And, he's still in your arms. So let's just clarify that. We're not trying to drop a baby, but that feeling of a fall as a baby will alert the baby and its arms and legs will go out and it will startle it, eyes will open wide. So that's the first fear. And the other one is loud noises. If you make a loud noise, baby's in place and quiet room, but there's a sudden distinct loud noise, there's a startled effect from baby. All other fears are by way of a conditioned response through our upbringing, our environment, our parents, our social conditioning, and so forth. Now, a step deeper than that, as a Buddhist, I would say it's karmically determined too. Now, in here, we're talking specifically hip pain. So what are the emotions that tie in with hip pain? So you've got to think about all the different aspects of your body. Where are you feeling symptoms first and foremost? And how does that relate to perhaps a blockage, a roadblock, a challenge that you're facing in your life currently, or that you're revisiting ongoingly at this current age to what may have happened 3 decades ago? Time almost doesn't exist in the physical body. It's very much driven by the thoughts that you're having at this very point in time. That's the transformation that can come. We can eliminate those unworthy, unnecessary, completely unnecessary and inappropriate thoughts, right? We can remove those from our mind. We have the potential to do that. So we've got to become clear what those thoughts are and how does that relate then to the physical manifestation of that pain. So for example, symptoms around the throat can relate to the fact that you're struggling to have a voice in your relationship, a voice that's being heard, your opinion being shared, being listened to. You see where I'm going? Like the throat, the voice box ties in together. So thyroid issues, if you have neck pain, even coming into a little bit upper shoulder pain, you see where I'm going. Ears can be an illustration of you not being listened to, you're not being heard. People are listening to your voice, but you're not being heard by way of them following through with changes that you're maybe making a request of, and so on and so forth. But specifically the hip here, the hip is part of the lower extremity. The lower extremity's job is to support and help with movement. So where is it you might be feeling blocked or restricted, held back? You're struggling to take the next step in your life, the next step in your job, the next step in your relationship, the next step in having that confidence to whatever it is. Apply this to your own specific life. So these are the things that I've learned over time as a practitioner. I share with my patients. Now, one quick story for you, and I'll come straight back to this book, is I remember a patient coming in and she was struggling with back pain. She came in, she had multiple massages, multiple chiropractic treatments. Things were steadily improving temporarily, but they'd never really cut the pain away. Then she stopped coming because she was spending a lot of money and it wasn't really giving the results she wanted. Then I saw her 3 years later and I checked in. I said, hey, you were coming in all that. Oh, yeah, it really helped, but it never solved the problem. But once my divorce went through, all my pain went away. Now, I'm not sitting here saying, if you want to get rid of all your pain and you're married, don't be married anymore. Go get a divorce. Not at all. But for her, she was going through some turmoil, which we didn't know about as therapists at the time. She was very private about it. But as a result of that emotional turbulence that she was experiencing, the feeling of perhaps being less supported in her relationship, back pain, back spine supports the body. You see where I'm going? This physical manifestation of pain was for her arising from this emotional turbulence that she was going through. So once that emotional turbulence was, diminishing in its scale and the divorce was complete and she was able to move on in her life, she felt that sense of moving forward. She felt more supported and confident moving forward in her life. Guess what? Her pain went away. Now, I'm not here to say that all physical pain, all diseases from my side are strictly only emotional, but there's a huge emotional contribution. I will say that. Because if somebody falls down, breaks their leg, there's a distinct mechanical trauma there that has caused that particular injury. Now, the lead up to it and the after effects after it, huge emotions that can be leading up to that point and huge emotions that are contributing after that point. But we got to consider that there's mechanical aspects too. All right, I'm going to zip otherwise I tend to go on. Here's what she says. So hip problems relate to the fear of going forward in major decisions, nothing to move forward to. And the counter to that, she gives these beautiful mantras or affirmations is, I'm in perfect balance. I move forward in life with ease and with joy at every age. The power of these words, if you just listen to them, take them on, write them down, and review and repeat over and over again. Here's another aspect to the hip. Carries the body in perfect balance. Major thrust in moving forward. Her affirmation is, hip, hip, hooray. There is joy in every day. I am balanced and free. Now, if you're like me, when you first hear these, you're like, that's a load of codswallop, as my dad would say. Meaning, that's nonsense. What are you talking about? That's foolish. These are strange words. Why? That's dull. That's odd. That's strange. I get it. So this is where we got to sink in. We got to read, get more context behind what perhaps we're hearing. Now, if you heard those and go, those are beautiful, those are transformative, I can feel how that would make a difference for me. Perfect. Move forward with that and don't change. Just keep doing it. Going to show you this. I produced this. It's available on my website. If you go to jasonbarlowrmt.com /free-tools, and it'll pop up. And these are affirmations. These are ones that I've created called Attitudes of Health, Winning the Mind Game, and Winning the Health Game. So if you want a little synopsis, this is a little printed version. You can get those from me in the clinic. Otherwise, you can download a PDF. And these are powerful words that your body believes every word you say. You say these often enough, and you discard the ones that are no longer serving you. Guess what? Transformation starts to happen because your body believes every word you say. Okay, I'm done. I could carry on, but I'm going to stop. I appreciate you joining me if you were on live. Thank you very much. Appreciate the thumbs up. That's the kind of stuff I need. I know somebody's out there then. That feedback. If you've enjoyed it, provide a review on the podcast episode or on the videos here that you're watching. Thank you very much. And I'm going to sign off and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.